anyway.
That's
Chapel Temple is, no, no.
no, no, that's good. You know what? You have been destined to be a pastor. About
You'd think that in some ways, but it's hard to tell.
it's a unique combination.
Well, that's a family name. You know where, out by Brenham, kind of Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
That's my family. So, yeah, so that's, my mother was a chapel and my dad was a temple. And we ended up, me in the middle. Although I did ask if she ever sounded it out. It works, okay. It's just different. I'm sure people go, oh, it doesn't make any sense.
It makes
It's
all
what
the
it is.
sense in the world.
Yeah. It's good. Good. Now, always nice to have your husband and son here.
No, you know, where are both of you? No, 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 say hi.
Yeah.
My husband's playing some game or whatever. You know, nerve calming game.
He's figuring it out, yeah. Good morning. 3, 2, and 1. Well, look who's coming through that door. I think we've met some time before. Hello, love. Hello, love. Oh, where in the world have you been so long? I've missed you so since you've been gone. Hello, love. Ah, hello, love. Coming to you live from the sanctuary of Christ Church in Sugar Land, Texas, the sweetest place on earth. It's a Bethlehem Home Companion, featuring the talents of Miss Beth McConnell, the queen of the keyboards, along with Isa Isaacs, the finest fiddler ever to come from the Baltic, Stephanie Pepping, our resident artist and banjoist, Renee Teal, the delightful director of missions, both near and far, Eric Solorio, our Yoda of Youth Ministries, and Sarah Stewart, the first lady of our little ones, joined by Pastor Dan, the man with the plan. Our program is brought to you this morning by our sponsor, Easter Morning Biscuits, just like Jesus, guaranteed to rise and make weak folks stronger and ready to face the day. It's a wonderful day, you're back with me. Things are like they used to be. Hello, love. Remember, love. Oh, you're back with us, the world's complete. Don't mind me if I repeat. Hello, love. Ah, hello, love. Love came down at Christmas. Love, a lovely love divine. Love was born at Christmas. Star and angel gave the sign. Love shall be our token. Love be yours and love be mine. Love to God and neighbor. Love for plea and gift and sign. It's a wonderful day, you're back with me. Things are like they used to be. Hello, love. Remember, love. Oh, you're back with us, the world's complete. Don't mind me if I repeat. Hello, love. Ah, hello, love. Ah, hello, love. One more time. Ah, hello, love. It's good to be with you on this Sunday after Christmas, or as it's known across the whole church, International Associates Get to Preach Day. Here at Christ Church, though everybody preaches all the time, some of the lay people preach here too. So we're doing it a bit differently today, sharing this time as an old-fashioned radio program. That's kind of special to me because my dad was in radio. He started me out that way as well. Dad had a radio station here in the Houston area, and the FCC required that there was a licensed radio engineer at the transmitter at all times. So being cheap and not wanting to pay anybody else, Dad sent me to the Elkins Institute, and at the age of 15, I became the youngest licensed first-class radio engineer in the country. Unfortunately, the first day I went out to the transmitter and turned it on, it blew up. I thought that would kind of blow up my whole career as well. But Dad made me go back anyway, and radio became a part of my life as it was for his life. Now, the great thing about radio is that no one can really see you. So this morning, we're going to act like you're not here in the sanctuary or not watching online at home. And we're going to keep our scripts and go from there. And
Hey, chap.
hey, Sarah.
Would you like some fruitcake?
I'm kind of in the middle of something here, Sarah.
Yeah, but fruitcake is really good.
Well, I don't like fruitcake.
How can you not like fruitcake? It's so fruity and cakey.
I'm just not a fan.
Well, maybe it's because you haven't tried my fruitcake. It's especially good.
You know, everybody always tells me that, but they end up tasting all the same to me. In fact, I don't like fruitcake so much. I actually wrote a poem about it several years ago. I called it Ode to Fruitcake.
So, how does this ode go?
Well, since you asked, I just happen to have a copy of it here with me. I hope that I shall never make a food so bad as Christmas fruit cake, all full of nuts and fruits and such, but stuck together much too much. In fact, it's quite a puzzle why, with all that sticky, it's so dry. I know I'm supposed to like it still, I find it makes me very ill. Thank you. Oh, I know all about its making, all the chopping, all the baking. And though they say it's made with love, I do not think they're from above. Despite the claims that this be manna, we know it's from Corsicana. You may think it's very neat, but it's just straight from Collins Street. In fact, a little doubt persists that only one such cake exists in all the world, and every year it's passed around to stifle cheer, to ruin taste buds here and there, and upset stomachs everywhere. From house to house that one cake's sent, for no one really likes its scent. From friend to friend it goes around until it's crisscrossed all the town. And every Christmas 1 year older, sticky pungency all the bolder. So tell me, friends, be honest now and speak the truth. Come take your vow. Of all the things you really hate, is anything worse than Christmas fruit cake?
So you're saying there's a chance?
No.
Fine, I'm gonna take my fruitcake to someone who would appreciate it. Eric?
It's probably a good idea. Speaking of appreciation, one of the great people who we love to hang out here with at Christ Church is a woman who moved to this country in 1994 from her native land of Latvia. Aya Isaacs is known all around the world for her skills as a violinist, an instrument she began to study at the age of 7, becoming a national champion in her home country before serving, among other roles, as first a violinist in the West Virginia Symphony Orchestra, where she also taught, concert master at the Houston Civic Symphony. She's performed concerts everywhere, playing for everybody from U.S. presidents to the president of her native land, Latvia, to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, to Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's still waiting for her to come back. Skater Scott Hamilton, NFL players, and she's played with or alongside people like Itzhak Perlman, Yo-Yo Ma, James Galloway, Lionel Richie, Reba McEntire, and of course, Beth McConnell. She is the owner of the Dreams Come True agency here in the Houston area. She's recorded numerous CDs. No surprise, she also works as a fashion model. In short, she's an underachiever.
but she's still trying. Hiya, Aya. So, Aya, you grew up in a country under communist reign. What was your experience of the church like there?
Now, before I answer this wonderful question, I would like to tell you that each one of you is better than Crown Prince, President of the United States. Jesus sees us all the same.
Amen.
And that's
Amen.
why I complain to you, all right? All right, now to answer this question. Yes, I live in the United States now for 27 years. I can't believe it. I'm 51 years young. But when I was growing up in Latvia, it was still part of Soviet Union. And faith was not officially allowed. My mom was math teacher at school, so we had to go to church secretly so she wouldn't lose her job. I was baptized Catholic, so we went to Catholic church. But God is the same. Jesus is the same. He saved us by his blood. How was my experience? You know, human nature is such as sometimes forbidden things are enticing things. And it can happen in good ways sometimes. So Christianity was suppressed and forbidden. But we were underground and we are on fire. And we attended, risking our jobs, risking everything. And so I'm very glad to my mom. She took me to church to Mass 6 a.m. in the morning when nobody was
Wow.
And we looked around and, you know, God protected her. She never lost her job. And she taught me about God. Of course, I didn't have Bible, all I had a catechism, but I felt God's presence. You know, I did. And then when Soviet Union collapsed when I was 20 years old, finally got my first Bible. It was sent from America. American Latvians sent it, and it was small print, so I was like, I crossed-eyed, I read it, and I read it all, and I understood more about Jesus. And so, you know, God's hand has always been over me, and I love fruitcake. Because when we were under Soviet Union, there was no fresh fruit, fresh anything during winter. So I came here to America, strawberries in January. I said, what? So we preserved all fruit. We chewed all kind of fruit cakes, and we were very thankful. So here in America, I'm like, give me that fruit cake.
That is so great. It's so great. I started as a missionary in Eastern Europe, taking Bibles to people like you all across the bloc nations of Eastern Europe. It's such an exciting thing when people got their first Bible and they're able to actually read it. But I also know of a missionary friend of mine. He was in Kabul, Afghanistan, and he was thrown out of the country. They actually bulldozed his church. And then, because they had heard there was an underground church, they dug down 10 feet trying to find this underground church. So the Lord has a sense of humor on this too as he goes through. Play something for us.
So we're going to play something really technical. You're welcome to dance along if you'd like.
Okay, family, it's time to load up and hit the road.
Come on, kids. Let's go.
I've got the drinks.
And I've got the snacks.
This is so exciting.
Yes, indeed, our very first trip down Highway 2020. It's supposed to be the best drive ever.
Oh, I can't wait. I've heard the scenery is beautiful.
Imagine, if you will, a time, a place, not so long ago, filled with anticipation. What this family does not realize is that they are headed for the 2020 zone.
Oh, what a beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky.
Have you started up our GPS?
How long until we get there?
Now, son, just be patient. Yes, dear, I have the GPS.
Mom, he's touching me.
Son, leave your sister alone. We have a nice drive ahead of us. You don't need to start any trouble.
Speaking of trouble, dear, it looks like there's some pretty dark clouds on the horizon.
Suspended in time and space, little did this family know what was waiting for them in the 2020 zone.
Everybody hang on. This storm should be over soon.
Are we there yet?
Don't worry, dear. We'll get there when we get there.
Mom, she's looking out my window.
Kids, you need to just get along. Stop arguing. I have to drive here.
Oh, wait, it looks like it's clearing, but why does the sky look orange now?
It's getting hot.
Keep your windows rolled up. There's a lot of smoke.
Are we there yet?
No.
Oh wow, looking. Those are those killer hornets that we heard about on the TV.
Oh, this is getting ridiculous. What else could possibly happen?
He's on my side.
Stop arguing.
Let's turn on the radio. Maybe there's some nice music.
Yeah, let's do that.
Look, it's Highway 2020.
Can we get off this
want-
crazy road and go there instead?
I think that's a great idea. How do you think, dear?
I couldn't agree more. I'm done with Highway 2020.
The family visited the 2020 zone, but will never give up hope for 2021.
Well, I have a feeling no one's going to miss 2020, are we? But we do indeed step into a new year and a few days. So this particular song that seems to be an appropriate one this morning comes out of Scotland by the hand of their national poet, Robbie Burns. We know it, though I bet most of us can't actually get past the first line or so. We mumble through the rest of it until we roar back in with some gusto on the closing three words, though not really knowing what those words mean either. So it's only an appropriate thing to grasp the hand of a trusty feeder or friend. Take a right yield willy wot, take a deep draught of goodwill for old Ain Syne or long, long ago. This is a song about treasuring what has transpired in our lives while also knowing how to move past the past. It almost didn't get written at all. Robbie Burns was leaving Scotland before a note from a friend caused him to turn around back home. He finished this song thus, never imagining how it would go all around the world, even if he didn't. But should you sing these words in the coming days, maybe you can take a cup of kindness yet in his memory. Unspiked eggnog works fine for the Methodist. And then share that pint stop of caring with each other, just for old time's sake. Nobody sings it better than our resident graphic artist, Stephanie Pepping, who's going to come and do it for us now.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. 1, 2, 3. We too have run about the slopes and picked the daisies fine. We've wandered many a weary foot since old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. We too have paddled in the streams for a morning sun till time, but seas between us broad have roared since old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. And there's a hand, my trusty friend, and give me a hand of thine. We'll take a ride, good, we'll trot for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne.
Our special thanks this morning to all those who helped with our Christmas Eve service out at Constellation Field this week. We had over 1,300 folks join us, and it was an exciting time indeed. Happy to report that there were no injuries, no forced throws, and not even a single foul ball. It was a home run indeed, and we're grateful to God for His grace, and we're grateful to our friends at Constellation for helping us celebrate Christmas, even in this COVID age. Next week, we return to our concurrent services with traditional worship here in the sanctuary and contemporary worship over in Covenant Hall in our Family Life Center, both starting at 10:30 a.m. You can come in person or join us online for either worship style as we start a new sermon series for the new year called simply Faithful. Congratulations to Burke and Jan Randolph on their 50th wedding anniversary. Last weekend, they put the gold standard into a golden anniversary. Thanks for all your years of demonstrating what marriage is supposed to be all about. One of you, I am sure, deserves a medal. Our prayers go out to all those who are dealing with illness during this holiday season, especially to some of our families that have COVID-19 and are watching us from home tonight. Y'all get well soon. We're sending our love this morning to Kay Brewer, whose husband Bob went to be with the Lord this past week. Services will be held on Thursday, and we're keeping you in our prayers. Kay, along with Linda Blanche and others who have known the loss of a loved one in these closing weeks of the year. Altar flowers today are in loving memory of Bob Campbell by his wife Carol. And Merry Christmas to our shut-ins. This season, we've all been shut in at one time or another. But in particular, we remember this morning our folks who are in senior living facilities waiting on that vaccine. We've never been so happy to say we're looking forward to all of you getting shot, or rather a shot. We're being brought to you this morning, as every week, by Easter morning biscuits, where nutritious meets delicious and they have a party in your mouth. What really keeps us going, however, are the generous gifts of many. It's been a tough year for everybody, but because of your giving, we've been able to be a force for good in the lives of several families and individuals in need, and in the life of this community and even the world. As we come to a time of offering today, we would invite you to continue to be generous. You can give online through our website using the little button just below the screen if you're watching us today from near or far. Or if you are watching via YouTube, simply go onto the website for a few moments to take care of your gift. And if you are in person here and want to do it the old-fashioned way, there are some boxes at the back that allow you to do a hands-free handoff of your gift, if you like. So as you give, and also register your attendance online.
Excuse me, Pastor Dan.
Yeah, Eric, what is it? I'm right in the middle of the offering.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, it's just it. The IRS wants to remind everybody here that if they itemize their taxes and if they want full credit for their contributions, that has to be in the hands of the church by this Thursday at midnight, or at least postmarked by that time.
Thanks, Eric. I think everyone knows that.
Yeah, well, they were very specific, Pastor Dan. They said something like, 2020, what a year, a time of worry or a time of fear. But there's a law you should not tempt if you are seeking tax exempt. Checks or cash will be okay. Just get them in by New Year's Day.
Well, thanks for the reminder.
Well, no problem, unless you put it off, that is.
No, I'm sure none of us will do that. And to put us in a giving mood, let's bring back Aya Isaacs for an offering of her skills and gifts. Aya?
Yay! And before I do that, I would like to mention a few words as we celebrate all these beautiful anniversaries. I also would like to mention that today, exactly today, is 27 years. On December 27, 27 years ago, I came to this country. And here's my husband, love you, honey, and here's my son. So, and I would like to thank to everyone in this church. This church is incredible, kindest people, most loving and professional. This lady here at the piano, Beth, she's the best pianist and organist in the whole Houston. I've played with many, but nobody can play with her. And we just heard Oleg Zion with his angel voice. I mean, the talent which is here, and thank you so much, Pastor Chapel. You are always so kind and loving. So without any further ado, I'll be serenading you with this gypsy song. And I wish I could walk close to you and gypsy in your eyes, maybe next year. Okay? like a flute.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad I didn't fall over when I was trying to dance.
Well, it's been a quiet week in my hometown, Bethlehem. It's been that way, in fact, ever since that ruckus with the shepherds just a while back on that evening that they came rattling into town, talking like crazy people. Said they'd seen an angel, actually an army of angels, out in the fields, Bet-Sahor. That's just a few miles away. Those heavenly angels, messengers, had told them, shepherds of all people, that they ought to get right over here and find a baby that had just been born and was lying in a cattle feeding trough. Like I said, that's crazy, isn't it? But they came, and you couldn't shut them up afterwards. As odd as it was, a lot of our folks were amazed at what they said, astonished, in fact. Most of the other visitors who came to town for the census have gone back to their homes now, having left their names and a good share of their income to the Romans as well. It's always about the money with those guys. Mary and Joseph, that young couple from up north, up in Nazareth, they're still here, though. She's the one who had the baby, and he's a little too young for them to travel still. They did at least get to move into the house of Joe's relatives as soon as the other kinfolk moved out. Finally, we might say. You know how those relatives can actually be. My wife Miriam went over, of course, to see the baby, took a casserole, a nice dish made with cream of mushroom soup, Methodist binder for any and all potlucks. She said he was cute, all right, but that Joseph and Mary didn't say much. Mary still had that kind of dreamy, pondering look in her eyes. Maybe she's just tired. How can you get rest when a little kid comes over when you've just got the baby down to sleep and wants to play a drum solo? Joseph seemed just a little worried, like any new dad might be. These are uncertain times. They took the baby up to Jerusalem a week or so after he was born, of course, for the big ceremony that we do with all Jewish boys. I gave them one of the doves for their offering because they didn't have anything. It's rather odd, though, because when they got to the temple, old Simeon, everybody knows him, he's been around for decades, he came running up to this couple, took the baby out of their arms, held it, began to go all Pentecostal, praising God, saying something like, "At last, Lord, you can take me home now, because I've seen your salvation, the consolation of Israel." And then get this, Simeon told them that their child was destined to cause the falling and the rising of many in Israel. Talk about putting some high expectations on that kid. Why don't you just tell him that after he grows up, he will be perfect and have no sin, huh? That wasn't all. Because soon after Simeon had finished talking, Anna came up. Anna's in her 90s now, I think. She just lives in the temple, never leaves it. She came up to Joseph and Mary as well. She took one look at the kid. She began telling everybody else he was the one who would bring about the redemption of Jerusalem. Again, too much pressure on the kid too soon. But it was quite a day at the temple. But even that wasn't the end of it. Would you believe it? Not long after that tempest at the temple, 3 foreigners showed up here in Bethlehem who had come all the way from Persia, I think. They were dressed in fine robes, and they said they'd been led to our little town by the star, the same one that had showed up on the night that baby was born. They even stopped in Jerusalem and talked to King Herod. Never a good idea, in my mind. They asked Herod, and you know how paranoid he is, where the new king of the Jews had been born. He was the king of the Jews at the moment. He didn't know, of course. He's not even really Jewish. He's Idumean, what we used to call Edomites. But he sure wanted to find out. Concerned him enough to call in the experts, the chief priests and the seminary professors, and they all told him that the prophets of old had said the Messiah would be born right here in Bethlehem, the city of David, though to be honest, it's not really a city. We only call it that because we don't have a word in Hebrew for podunk town. We did make it into the book of Micah. Not the most widely read of all the minor prophets, but hey, he mentioned us. Said, we were too little to even get up one good fighting unit of men, but that out of our clan, there would come one who would be a ruler over all of Israel, whose origins are from old, from ancient times. It's not bad for a podunk town. Well, Herod told those 3 visitors what the priest had said, and before long, they showed up here, went right into the house where the kids were staying, and you wouldn't believe the baby gifts they brought that couple. Expensive spices and perfumes, even gold from their home back east. Then almost as soon as they came, they left. Only someone must have told them about how erratic old Herod is, because they went back a different way. They didn't go through Jerusalem. They cut across to the Dead Sea, went around it, I think, went all the way on the other side, on the eastern side of the Jordan, just to get back on the road up to Persia, bypassing Jerusalem completely. And boy, is Herod gonna go berserk when he finds out those wise guys were wise to him. In the meantime, things are settling back down here in Bethlehem. It's actually been very nice having that couple here for a few days. I have to admit, when I saw their baby, I was touched as well. He's just a baby. But maybe Simeon and Anna were right about him. There is something special about him, almost as though when you look into his eyes, you're looking into eternity. And not just eternity in general, but your eternity as well. All your past, all your present, all your future, it's right there. It's like he knows who you are, even knows all your secrets. Yet he loves you in that kind of innocent and unconditional way nobody else does. Yeah, it's crazy, I know. That's how it seems. So it's kind of a shame that he won't be staying here much longer. Joseph is talking about going down to Egypt for a while before they travel back up home, up in Galilee. See, he had a dream the other night. An angel told him to do so. Another angel sighting, mind you. We're getting to be a regular stop on their celestial circuit. Seems a bit unusual to me, but it was enough for Joe. Joseph seems pretty firm on doing whatever he thinks the Lord has told him he should do. Which I guess, come to think of it, is not a bad way for any of us to also live, is it? This is a pretty uncertain world these days. The politics are clearly out of control. The capital's a mess. Culture's under attack. Some of the very people we should be able to trust the most, those chief priests, for instance, our religious leaders, don't seem to be all that trustworthy to me. But God himself is. Seems that he has placed his sacred service agents in all kinds of places. People like Simeon and Anna and those three foreigners who showed up here. So maybe our task is just to go through life with our eyes wide open, to see where God is already at work, and then to jump in and to get involved there in it. That's really what we're trying to be all about in this time, isn't it? So if we see somebody who needs help, we give it to them. If we come across somebody lying on the side of the road of life, we stop and we help them. Do whatever it takes to make their life whole again. And if we have a chance to make a witness for God, we take it. Even if it takes us out of our comfort zones. We should maybe be like those shepherds and go tell everybody about this Jesus. Go tell it in the city, go tell it in the villages, go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. That would make a good song, wouldn't it? Well, there may be some tough days ahead. Then I just think about that baby once more. If he really is the consolation of Israel, as Simeon called him, if he really is the redemption of Jerusalem, as Anna said, maybe he can be the consoler and the redeemer of our lives too. Maybe that's what this ruckus has been all about. So like those wise men, maybe all of us who have seen his star should come to worship him, even in crazy days like these. Well, that's the news from Bethlehem, where all the women are daughters of Eve, all the men are sons of Adam, and all the children, we're all children of God. Seems appropriate, though, that we should pray, doesn't it? So wherever you are, bow your head for a moment. Let's go to the Lord who made this all possible. Well, Lord, here we are. We're glad indeed to have made it through another year, especially this year. We thank you for the gift of Christmas, which was the best gift of all because it was the gift of your Son. We want to follow him, Lord, and we need your help to do so. So forgive us for all the ways in which we failed to be consistent in our faith or generous in our love for you and for others. Keep us out of those places where we have no business going. Deliver us from evil, even if that evil is in ourselves. Because yours, Lord, yours and yours alone is the kingdom. You alone have the power, and you alone deserve all the glory. Amen. We want to hear one last song, one which Paul McCartney wrote as a tribute to his mother Mary and as a nod to his Catholic upbringing. If anybody can take a Beatles song and combine it with a Bach tune and make it sound downright hymnic, it's our own Lady McConnell. Let's welcome back Beth as she comes, and she plays it for us now. Well, we're going to close out this radio show today with the classic psalm that we mentioned. Came out of the tradition of African American spirituals. A man named John Wesley Wirt Jr. was the one who first published it way back in 1907 or so. Now, you wouldn't expect a teacher of ancient Greek and Latin to be interested in things like this, but John Wesley Wirt Jr. was the son of a church choir director. Music was always his first love. This song has been sung by a lot of people over the years, but every time we sing it, all we're really doing is doing what the shepherds did. We're proclaiming that Jesus Christ is born. So with the tip of the hand to old John Wesley Wirt Jr., I invite you to stand. If you're in the sanctuary this morning, stand if you're at home too. The rest of the cast will come on up. We're going to join in. Go tell it on the mountain. Shepherds fear and tremble when low above the earth rang out the angel chorus that hailed the Savior's birth. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Down in a lowly manger, the humble Christ was born, and God sent us salvation, that blessed Christmas morn. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Amen. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for joining us for our Bethlehem Home Companion. You know, the word companion comes from the Latin and the French com and pagne, meaning with bread. We have companions with people that we share bread with. We do that every time we join in the Lord's Supper, but we do it every time that we share a meal with other people as well. Bethlehem means house of bread in Hebrew, and home, that's where the heart is. So that's where we hope your heart is with us as well. Our special thanks to all of our faithful crew today, to Mr. Brian and Mr. BJ up in the sound booth who put this together, our AV wizards. To Miss Senegal and to Kevin back here with the band this morning. To Renee Teal, who wrote our 2020 skit, and to all of our staff who made this program possible. And of course, we thank our sponsor, Easter Morning Biscuits, so light they can lift you right out of the grave. And especially to each of you, we've taken our cue today from 2 Corinthians 11:1. I hope you will put up with me in a little foolishness. We'll return to 2 morning services next Sunday, but until then, go now in peace. Or not. You can go out grumpy if you want to. But you do have to go. Goodbye.